Good morning, Devils fans. We find ourselves in a somewhat familiar spot yet again, starting 0-2, as the Baby Devs do lose to the Baby Buffalo Sabres 4-2 in the Buffalo Prospect Challenge. Ultimately, we all know these scrimmages don't actually matter on the holistic view, especially from a team results perspective, and even the overall team play and structure is not really worth focusing on, as half, if not more than half of this team are guys that have never played and probably won't play much together again after this tournament. So instead, kind of like with the last episode, I am going to be focusing on the individual plays that stick out to me, especially from the big names that actually matter. Two quick notes for this game. Stillman did move over to center from wing. I don't have too many notes from him from this game. He actually had a few decent plays, a few not so great. But on the all, I think he actually looked better at center than he did at wing. He was playing with much better line mates this time around, being at center, than he did last game being at wing. Just better deployment with them, more offensive opportunities and the such. So that probably helped as well. So definitely look forward to see what he does in the third game. But you would hope with this being not his first run here and being one of the older, more veteran guys, he would have a much better showing. But as I kind of said in the preview leading into this, I think he is still at least a couple years out from even sniffing the NHL lineup. So he has a long runway to work with. The Devils will definitely give him that, and so will I. Not going to bury him just yet, obviously, especially when he's still young. And we're kind of really, he was a first round draft pick. You don't want those bottom six guys in the first round, really, but that's what he's slated for, so not going to worry too much about him. Other note was Poulter did move into net, taking over for Brennan. I think he had an okay game, but it wasn't his best showing either. I think he gave up a couple loose ones. What was it? He had given up two of the first five shots went in, and then it didn't take much more for the third and fourth goals to go in either. So, yeah, not the best showing from him either, but his pathway to making a starting spot on an NHL team is a long road as well. So, they're not really the focus of this video. On the whole, for the game, I would say it was very choppy, especially early on. And then got really physical by the end of the game, especially with that late hit from Buffalo, which really got it scrappy in the last few seconds. But on the all, you could just tell this was a prospect game with a bunch of guys that didn't really have systems in place that were just trying to show what their individual games were like. So, speaking of those individual games, top of the list for us is obviously Nemec. I think he had another great game overall. Now, I will say in the first game, he seemed to really dial it up offensively and really stood out amongst everyone there on the ice. Here against Buffalo, there's actually a few guys on Buffalo's roster that can at least sniff his coattails in the overall skill and pedigree department. So he wasn't by far and away the best player on the ice by any means. But also, I think he seemed to take a step back from a lot of his offensive risk in the game and instead focus on a defensive style. Because basically, all my notes up until basically the last half of the third period on him were all around strong defensive plays and not really him pressing the pace offensively. I don't know if this was something that was brought to him by the coaches, because one thing that Deneen has kind of brought up over and over in the interviews at this is while they know Nemec can really push the pace offensively and can almost do it all himself like we did in the first game, they want him to realize that he can really affect the game defensively as well. You don't always have to show up on the score sheet, and instead can be a big impact player purely on the defensive side. So I think he might have taken that to heart in this game and really kind of took a step back and made that the focus of this game. A few notes from it. He had a really smart pinch in the offensive zone, but did not, even though he didn't convert it into an offensive chance and zone possession with the team, he still managed to get back and play the defensive side of it well. So that stuck out to me. Again, showing the offensive instincts, but not overplaying his hand where he got beat back. He had a strong net front defensive play where a puck came across the blue, tied up his guy's stick, and got the puck into the deep corner as opposed to a scoring chance. Had a strong block in the second period that got him cheers from his bench. Had what I've noticed a few times in both the first and second game, he is really good on the 2-on-1. The one in particular from this game, he actually aggressively played the puck carrier and basically completely flipped possession before a pass could even be attempted to the other guy in the 2-on-1. So very strong what's the word I'm looking for here? Just sense to be able to control the play. And then really my last note there was coming at the last half of the third period where he flipped that switch to he was constantly asking for the puck. Basically, when he had it on his stick, he was gearing it towards the net or setting up some sort of good offensive play for the team. I was talking about it with some of my buddies. The few times that he did end up not taking the shot, now I think there was a couple times he kind of forced the shot a little bit for sure. And then the few times he didn't force the shot and passed it to one of the guys, they completely whiffed or gave up possession on the play. So you can kind of see where he was like, give me the puck. I'm going to do this all myself. Because that's really what he tried to do. Didn't end up getting on the score sheet that way. But, we appreciate the effort. And you could see when he flipped that switch going to, I'm going to try and dominate this offensively, chances started generating like crazy. Now, obviously, the score effects, end of the period and stuff like that there as well. But hey, you still got to be able to do that stuff even when down, and he definitely did. Other guy, obviously, of note that I'm keeping a focus on at this tournament is Graham Clarke. Not the best of notes for him on this one. Kind of the same things that we saw rearing their head in game one. Still, when he does get the puck on his stick and manages to get his release off, he does have a strong shot. But he seems to have some defensive blunders, and that was supposed to be a focus for him coming into this tournament. He had a really bad giveaway right at the D zone where he was flat-footed, and the guy just completely took the puck off of his stick. And then also, even in the offensive zone, he was completely alone in front of the net and fumbled a pretty clean pass that should have at least generated an insane scoring chance. But instead, he fumbled it, didn't even really get a shot off. Last comment on Clarke is from the post-game presser with Deneen. Deneen brings up that again, it was this away from the puck play, defensive play that was supposed to be Clarke's focus. And just from the comments from Deneen, it was pretty obvious that at least so far into this tournament, he is not really making that push for claiming a spot on that NHL roster. Instead, it sounds like they do plan on bringing him back to Utica, letting him grow further there. They talk about, needing to be more physical, putting on the weight, and just knowing that play away from the puck and defensive zone outlets when you are being pressured. So we'll see if he can really turn that around in game 3 and into the preseason. But yeah, from Denise's comments, not looking very optimistic for Clarke here. A few random comments just from some of the other guys. McKinnon, who I initially thought was basically just a Nepo signing to come here for this, continues to impress me. I mean, the guy really can get the puck on net, seems to always be on the play when he is on the ice. Again, continues to impress me on this. Nothing crazy. He's not going to make a push for the roster, but from where I expected him to be, he's quite good, in my opinion. Philman had one really strong play, got a nice D-zone exit, drew a penalty off of it. On the all, definitely expected more from him coming into this tournament. I thought he should have been a little bit more dominant and show off than he has been. But that was a really strong play, NHL-type play that you do like to see. Hataka, for as many great things as I had to say about him in the first game, this one, he got really badly beat back to behind the net recovering a puck, and it instantly led to a pass out front and the first goal by Buffalo, and it kind of snowballed a bit from there. So definitely, for as much praise I gave him last one, I definitely wanted to nitpick that play there for him. And then last, a guy I haven't really commented on too much is Isley. He had a really smart read where he saw the play being broken up, broke to the center of the ice, and earned himself a breakaway. Now, he didn't score on it. He tried to absolutely dangle the goalie out of his jockstrap and go 5-hole. The goalie didn't bite, and so it ended up looking like a pretty snuffed chance. But I appreciated the effort on it, and if he did end up opening that 5-hole and score there, it would have looked and felt a lot nicer. But hey, he read the play. You could see it in the replay where he was reading 2 steps ahead on how the play was developing. And so that's really what you want to keep an eye out for on these guys. That really covers my notes for the game. There were some things I talked about systems-wise or what led to some of the other goals against for us or even for. But really, that's not what this tournament's for. It's really about nitpicking out the individual plays. I was talking about it again with my buddies. Like, you can watch some plays that guys make in these, and you just know the moment they make that play, it's like, yeah, I don't know if this guy's ever going to sniff an NHL roster, because sometimes it's just when they get pressured, the safe area of the ice where they try to dump or relieve pressure from themselves is just awful. And it's like, yeah, if you do that in an NHL game, you're getting scored on against every single time. Like, you just cannot do that. Or even just the way guys gather the puck and release a shot, like the time it takes to settle a puck and release, stuff like that. you can just watch and see. It's like you either need a lot more development in that area, or you just, if that's not something you're going to fix, you have no chance of making it to a higher tier of hockey. And I know if I'm seeing it, the coaches are definitely seeing it, and the players got to know that themselves. So again, Nemec definitely is the really only big standout for me on the roster so far. Clarke has had some absolute snubs that seem, and Deneen's comments agree, he's got to really really step it up here, or he is not going to be fighting for that fourth line left wing role, or even that third line right wing spot that's geared for Holtz. So I'm sure Holtz is happy about that. So yeah, that's going to do it. Today is actually an off day as far as games go. I will preview. We actually have a 10 a.m. game tomorrow, so I will not be able to watch, record, and upload in the morning by the time that game ends. So I'll probably do some sort of preview or something tomorrow morning to cover that. And then Tuesday will be my recap of our last scrimmage game, as well as a preview heading into veterans reporting for camp. So it's the end of the weekend. Everyone, please enjoy it. I think I actually got to go mow the lawn finally. Not looking forward to that, but hey, got to do what you got to do. And I will see everyone tomorrow morning, as always, and forever. Let's go, Devils.